Welcome to our journey through the stunning Ha Giang Loop in northern Vietnam. In this video, we'll take you through the highs and lows of this incredible motorbike adventure, from the breathtaking views to avoiding the police and big groups of tourists. We opted for a guided tour, not just for the convenience, but to enjoy the landscapes without worrying about police stops or navigating the busy roads. Join us as we explore remote villages, see local life, and discover the true beauty of this rugged region. Bert and Henry picked up their bikes and we set off on what was going to be an amazing 3-day journey. We had some expectations, but the only thing we were certain of was that the scenery was going to be incredible, and we weren't wrong. Our first stop took us to a picturesque village, and from the get-go we got a sense of how expansive and beautiful the landscape is. The mountains tower over small rural villages with terraces of rice fields carving their way through the valleys. It's hard to believe such remote beauty exists in a place so accessible to tourists. We made a stop at a village where we met an incredible 95-year-old woman whose fingers had clearly seen decades of hard work. She showed us how they traditionally made clothes from hemp, weaving, and printed fabric by hand. We thought her hands had been affected by Agent Orange, something we learned more about later in our trip in Vietnam. It was a powerful moment that connected us to the past, reminding us of the resilience of these communities and their rich heritage. Now we were stopping for lunch and we weren't short of food. Because we opted for a private tour, we ate separately from the larger groups, which meant more food to share among the 4 of us.
So lots of food, it's a feast. Yeah.
We've got to invite them to come and eat this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
These are like the spring rolls we had in Laos.
Yeah. This one, beef?
Yeah, beef.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, yes. Chicken?
Chicken.
Afterwards, our guide took us off the beaten path to a truly remote village, far from the tourist crowds. Here, we saw how people lived with so little. No electricity, no heating, just wood fires to stay warm. Yet, despite their struggles, their warmth and kindness was humbling. It was a reminder of how happy people can be with so little. These people were so friendly and smiley, and even though they had so little, their generosity was overwhelming. The scenery here was just mind-blowing too. The isolation made us feel like we were really away from the world. Every stop seemed to bring even more stunning views.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
See you, bye-bye.
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 The Ha Giang Loop is renowned for its rugged beauty, but we were surprised at how busy it was with other tourists. We expected a quiet, peaceful ride through rural villages, but instead we encountered motorbike tours everywhere. While it's great that so many people are discovering this place, it did take away from the serenity we had hoped for, especially with loud music blaring at some stops. Our guide realised this wasn't our scene, so he took us away from the crowds a bit more off the beaten track, which we really appreciated. It gave us the chance to see more rural beauty without the crowds. We were glad we did the loop in December, despite the cold. The views were a bit misty, but we thought that if we came in the summer, it would have been far more crowded. So we felt fortunate to experience this beautiful region without the overwhelming crowds. I'm just putting on all my layers because it's so cold out there. We were so fortunate to have heating last night in our place because after a full day of being on the bike, it was freezing. So we came back and we literally just sat next to our heater and it was so nice. So we're feeling good, but getting our layers on. I think, how many hours are we going to be driving for today?
I think we're going to be doing about 8 hours a day, and I think we should arrive at our next place around sort of the same time as we did yesterday, which is around 4 to 5 p.m. But let's see.
First stop of the day, I think it's a viewpoint. Do you think? Is it a viewpoint?
Definitely a viewpoint.
Yeah, a viewpoint.
We'll get the drone up.
Yeah, we'll get the drone up. Loads of people are here. And how long were we driving for? Not too long, like half an hour. Yeah, 20 minutes. But Henry was saying it feels colder today, but I actually said, oh, it feels a bit warmer. But that's probably because we were really warm last night and we've just started. So I'll let you know how warm, cold we're feeling towards the end of the day. And yes, it was still cold. What struck us, though, was how polluted the air was at times. The roads were congested with motorbikes, delivery trucks, and other vehicles, which contributed to the haze. But the view is amazing. Wow.
Well, I was about to say, it's always...
It's because we're so high up or because it's a bit misty, but when I'm doing video, my phone doesn't even focus. It's so weird, look. It's not even focusing.
My throat hurts from inhaling so much smoke. Yeah, well, no, it's pretty cool where we are. Pretty cool. I don't want to swear because it's probably going on some content, but it's freaking cool, man. It's freaking cool.
Nothing to top.
Well, this one, this old thing. But not that cold.
We stopped at this traditional house and saw how meat was hung and preserved and learned about local instruments. This village had been around for over 500 years and it gave us a deeper understanding of how people in the north live.
What is it, George?
You have to... What? I think you have to move it.
This village here that we're in at the moment is over 500, sorry, not 5,000, 500 years old.
It was noticeably colder today. We were getting closer to the Chinese border and you could feel the shift in the atmosphere. The town we stopped in had more Chinese influences, evident in the architecture, the colours and the shops lining the streets. It felt like we were on the edge of two cultures, with the landscape, shops, and culture slowly changing around us. We stopped for lunch. It's definitely gotten colder, hasn't it? We saw the group, because we're on a private tour, but the main group. And I asked one of the girls, I was like, how are you finding it? She was like, yeah, it's really cold. So I think everyone's really cold. Literally 5-minute drive from where we had lunch, and we are just at the border of China, or we can see the border of China. It's just over there.
We're so close.
That's probably where they got the telescope.
And there's a river as well.
Okay,
It's an amazing view because you can see the river right at the bottom. Wow. We've stopped at another point called Lunku, and I think it's part of our tour because you do have to pay for tickets if you're not doing a tour. I see other people paying for tickets, but it's got an amazing view of a temple which is being built, I think, still being built opposite, and then this is a viewpoint and it's got a massive Vietnamese flag on top. But the view is 360, it's amazing. We're now climbing right to the top. So it's good exercise. This is good to get our body moving because we're sitting all the time, so we just did loads of steps. Now more steps, but I'm actually happy that we're doing this. We're right at the top now, next to the flag. My legs are a bit like, ooh. Another stop, more views, and it's nice because I think he's picked up, hasn't he, that we
don't want to be with listening to drum and bass.
So we're going off a bit the beaten track, I think, and it's so silent.
Do you see he carries?
How you feeling, Mum?
Sorry.
How you feeling?
Oh, great, thank you. He carries his own little jukebox thing.
Yeah,
So
he's probably
speaker.
disappointed that he can't be using it with you, Mum.
Yeah, he's probably like, he's got no.
He probably wants to rave going down.
That big place on the left was a temple. I asked about that as we came down from the other place. So
Shall I ask him if he's got some Vivaldi?
That where the flag was, it was surrounded by temples.
Yeah, the big temple on the other
No, but
side.
it had another temple, you know.
Oh, I must have missed that.
So we've just arrived at our last stop of the day, and the view is absolutely spectacular. The sun's coming down as well, look at that.
Yeah, the sun's coming out. No one else is here apart from us, which is so nice. And I think you're going to fly the drone, aren't you?
Definitely.
For the last stop.
That's the money shot right there.
And then when we get to our accommodation, I hope we've got some heat.
Oh yeah, it's been cold. It's been really cold,
It's
isn't
been
it?
cold, but it's warmed up towards the end of the day, weirdly. But I think that's because the sun's come out. So.
Yeah, because yesterday we didn't see any sun, so today's the first day that we actually see
And it's
the sun.
mist, smog and mist, I don't know what it is, but it's clearing a little bit. So the views are clearer.
It's the next morning and we're now about to head out on our last and final tour of the day.
Second night done. It's feeling a little bit warmer today, which is good, but I don't know if that's because we've just had a really warm night because we blasted the AC. But yeah, we've just finished our breakfast and we're about to get on the bikes. It's about, what's the time? 9 o'clock? 8:30. And we're leaving, and then we'll get back at about 4 o'clock, and then we'll be stopping for lunch. So yeah, full on day.
By day 3, we were all feeling a bit tired. The driving was intense, and with the cold, it was a bit of a challenge. We were grateful that this was our last day on the loop. The day ahead was going to be interesting, though. We knew we would encounter police stops, and Bert and Henry didn't have their international driving permits, which we didn't have time to get before, but we would recommend to anyone doing the loop and driving themselves to get. We were actually expecting and ready to get stopped by the police, but we hoped our guides would handle it.
So now George and I are going in the front to see if there's police so that we don't get a fine. Because we've got no international driving license.
So there's a police stop, so my driver went ahead to look, so we were whizzing through and checking, and then a police car went, and then he got on the they got walkie-talkies, then he got on a walkie-talkie and told the guy, there's a police car coming, and then we carried on driving, and then we literally went through a police stop. But they didn't pull us over, probably because my driver is a local driver, and then so I jumped off. He walkie-talkied saying stop. So then I jumped off. Now I'm just admiring the view. Just like, don't know, I can't see the police from here, but like 200 meters, probably. No, yeah, maybe like 400 meters from the police stop. And then I got off, and then now he's going back. So I don't know what process they do, because obviously Bert and Henry are on a motorbike. My mum is on with an easy rider, so a driver. But then there's 3 motorbikes. So I presume they'll drive through and then they'll go back and pick up the car. But then if the police are smart about it, they'll know then that we've done this. So maybe they'll warn police ahead or they'll chase us. I have no idea. But it's obviously a whole operation here that we don't understand or know. So yeah. Anyway, I'm just going to enjoy this view.
Reflecting back, we're so glad we did the Ha Giang Loop, despite the difference to our initial expectations. The views were breathtaking, and seeing how people lived in the villages was humbling. The roads were in good condition for most of the loop, but the last day was a bit trickier, especially if you're not used to riding a bike. We were fortunate to have our easy riders, and I think that was key to fully enjoying the trip without worrying about the driving or police stops. We were also shocked by how busy it was and how touristy the loop had become. Would we do it again? If we came back, we'd probably do it ourselves, taking a bit more time to explore and break the journey up over more days. But we'd still recommend the tour for those looking to make the most of their time in Ha Giang and to have a hassle-free trip. Before we wrap up, let's talk about the cost of the tour and what we got for our money. We paid around £200 per person, which included everything. Our food, accommodation for 3 nights, 1 before the loop and 2 during the tour, our VIP night bus to and from Hanoi, the motorbikes and all the insurance. For my mum and I, we also had our easy riders included, which was such a relief, especially since neither of us wanted to ride ourselves. Honestly, when you break it all down, it was excellent value. Not only did it take the stress out of organising everything ourselves, but it also gave us the chance to experience Ha Giang in a way we wouldn't have been able to if we'd done it solo. The convenience and the chance to enjoy the incredible views without worrying about our international driving permits or logistics made it totally worth the price. If we were to do the Ha Giang Loop again, there's one thing we definitely look for in a tour: someone who can speak a bit of English and provide more information about the places we visit. Our easy riders were brilliant, really friendly and excellent at what they do, but we did feel that we missed having someone who could explain the history, culture, and significance of the places we stopped at. It would have been so much better if we had some context to help us understand what we were seeing. While the ride itself was incredible and we loved experiencing local life and the stunning views, having a guide who could share more about the region's history and the villages we visited would have made the experience even more rewarding. So, for anyone thinking about doing the loop on a tour, we definitely recommend looking for a tour where you get that kind of insight. It'll make the whole journey feel much more meaningful. Doing a private tour was definitely worth the money for us. We could all stay together, away from the huge crowds, and had the freedom to explore on our own time. No rushing at lunch or waiting around for anyone. If you're travelling with friends, we highly recommend going private for that extra comfort. But if you're travelling solo, a group tour can be a great way to meet others, though be prepared for the crowds. If you're looking for peace and serenity, though, this may not be the place. So, Easy Rider or driving the loop yourself? Our Easy Riders were fantastic, really experienced and safe. If you don't want to drive and prefer to take in the views from the back, then choosing an Easy Rider is definitely the way to go. However, if you'd like to drive yourself, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, be organised, unlike us. Make sure you get your international driving permit, as it can really help if you get stopped by the police. There are a few police checkpoints along the loop and we were lucky not to get caught, but our Easy Riders were great at guiding us through. Bert and Henry really enjoyed riding, but by day 3, they were happy to hand the bikes back. It's a tiring ride with long days on the road. Generally, the driving was manageable if you've got a bit of experience, but the last day was more challenging. If it's your first time on a motorbike, we wouldn't recommend doing the loop by yourself. The driving is quite intense as it requires a lot of focus. So if you want to take it easy and enjoy the journey without the stress, we would suggest going with an Easy Rider. But if you have the experience and an international driving permit, we definitely recommend driving yourself. Overall, we absolutely loved the Ha Giang Loop, and it's definitely a memory we will cherish forever. Despite the difference in our initial expectations and the huge crowds and tourists, it was so special to experience it with my family. There's something truly unique about sharing an adventure like this with the people you love. The scenery was nothing short of spectacular. From the vast mountain ranges to the peaceful remote villages, every turn brought a new breathtaking view. It's a place that leaves an imprint on your heart, and the beauty we saw is something we will never forget. Got a professional camera and telling me get it on the phone.
Just get on the phone.
Oh.
What a trip.